The first section of the video will cover general watercraft safety information. A second section of this video contains additional and specific safety information for watercraft, incorporating some or all of the following eye control technologies: IBR, Intelligent Brake and Reverse, ITC, Intelligent Throttle Control, and IS, Intelligent Suspension. The information provided here in the first section will support the additional and specific safety information provided for the designated eye control technology section.
Congratulations on your purchase of a new Sea-Doo watercraft. This is a short video filled with safety information. In addition to watching this video, take the time to read and follow your operator's guide. It should be kept on board. Moreover, locate and read the various warning labels which are on your personal watercraft. Throughout this video will be safety messages to reduce the risk of severe injury or even death. If you have friends who ride or are interested in riding Sea-Doo personal watercrafts, show them this video and review the operator's guide and the on-product warning labels with them. You'll be doing your part to ensure our sport remains safe and enjoyable. As you're probably aware, all Sea-Doo watercrafts feature a jet drive propulsion system. In this section, we'll explain what a watercraft jet drive is and how to properly steer your watercraft.
The engine of your PWC is directly coupled to a drive shaft, which in turn rotates an impeller. This impeller is in a housing where water is drawn up from underneath the watercraft through the intake grate. Then the water flows through the impeller to a venturi. The venturi accelerates the water and produces thrust to move the PWC. Depressing the throttle increases engine speed and therefore watercraft speed. Sea-Doo watercrafts have a steerable nozzle at the rear of the boat, controlled by handlebars, which direct the stream of water from left to right. This is a key characteristic of all jet drive systems and must be kept in mind when operating a Sea-Doo watercraft. Do not release throttle when trying to steer away from an object. You need throttle to steer. Always check throttle and steering controls for proper operation before starting the PWC. The steering efficiency of your PWC will differ depending on the number of passengers, loads, water conditions, and environmental factors such as the wind. Your PWC may be equipped with the off-power assisted steering system, also called OPAS. The side vanes on the rear sides of the hull turn as the steering is turned to assist the PWC in turning. Your PWC may be equipped with the off-throttle assisted steering system, also called OTAS. This system provides additional maneuverability in off-throttle situations. The OTAS system is electronically activated and slightly increases the engine speed in some situations. Please consult your operator's guide for all the details. Keep away from the intake grate while the engine is on. Items such as long hair, loose clothing, or PFD straps can become entangled in moving parts, resulting in severe injury or drowning. Do not apply throttle when anyone is in the rear of the PWC. Turn engine off or keep engine at idle. Water and/or debris exiting the jet thrust nozzle can cause severe injury.
Before going further, let's talk about some requirements for operators and passengers. First, BRP recommends a minimum operator age of 16 years old. You must know boating laws, including the operator age and training requirements for your state or province. A boating safety course is recommended and may be required in your state or province. Consider the mental and physical capabilities of the operator and passengers, as well as what supervision and instructions they need during operation. Knowing the safety information about the personal watercraft is essential for safe and proper operation. You wouldn't hand someone the keys to your car unless you were sure they knew how to drive. Well, the same rule needs to be applied to boating. Your boat is your responsibility no matter who's operating it. It's your responsibility to make sure users are familiar with all safety information. So make sure they know before they go.
All passengers must sit behind the operator to avoid loss of control and severe injury for the driver and passengers. They should be tall enough to touch the footrest firmly on each side and be able to hold on properly. Do not bring a passenger or ride as a passenger if those requirements are not met. Do not overload the watercraft. Respect the capacity limits that are posted. Wear a personal flotation device. All riders must wear a Coast Guard approved PFD that is suitable for PWC use. For better protection, the PFD must be well adjusted and have the right weight rating. Wear protective clothing. Severe internal injuries can occur if water is forced into body cavities as a result of falling into the water or being near the jet thrust nozzle. Normal swimwear does not adequately protect against forceful water entry into lower body openings of males or females. All riders must wear a wetsuit bottom or clothing that provides equivalent protection. Footwear, gloves, and goggle glasses are recommended. Your operator's guide contains detailed information to help you choose the right protection.
Everyone knows you shouldn't get behind the wheel of a car if you've had a drink. Well, the same applies when you're operating a watercraft. Never ride after consuming drugs or alcohol. Moreover, on the water, it may take you less alcohol before becoming impaired. Beware of the combination of fatigue and alcohol or drugs. Passengers are included in that rule. Their ability to hold on and pay attention may be impaired by alcohol or drugs. Before lending your personal watercraft or letting passengers ride with you, evaluate their condition. You need to know when to say no. Remember that fatigue alone can be a sufficient reason to decide to stay ashore, particularly at the end of a day. A collision is an unfortunate event which will hopefully never happen to you. They result in more injuries and deaths than any other types of accidents for personal watercrafts. As an operator, put all the chances on your side. Behave in a manner to avoid collisions. In this chapter, we will provide you with information about collision avoidance.
Scan constantly for people, objects, and other watercraft. Be alert for conditions that limit your visibility or block your vision of others. Operate defensively at a safe speed and keep a safe distance away from people, objects, and other watercraft. Do not follow directly behind personal watercraft or other boats. Avoid sharp turns or other maneuvers that make it hard for others to avoid you or understand where you are going. Do not go near others to spray or splash them with water. Avoid areas with submerged objects or shallow water. Take early action to avoid collisions. Remember, personal watercraft and other boats do not have brakes. Do not release the throttle when trying to steer away from an object. You need throttle to steer. Ride within your limits and avoid aggressive maneuvers to reduce the risk of loss of control, ejection, and collision. This is a high-performance boat, not a toy. Sharp turns or jumping wakes or waves can increase the risk of back spinal injury, paralysis, facial injuries, and broken legs, ankles, and other bones. Do not jump wakes or waves. You may not see a boat or a person being towed behind it. Know and follow all local, state, province, and federal laws. Ignorance of the law is not an excuse. It is your responsibility to get informed. Observe and obey all posted speed limit signs and other navigation markers. And finally, don't forget to use your judgment too.
A training course is a very good way to get you familiarized with all the rules of the road on water. For now, however, let's look at the right-of-way rules, which are probably the most important rules of navigation. In all situations, use common sense.
A more maneuverable boat should stay out of the way of less maneuverable crafts. Sailboats, windsurfers, canoes, and other manually powered boats have the right-of-way over personal watercraft because they're not as easy or as quick to maneuver. Then, when meeting head-on or traveling on the same path as another boat, neither boat has the right-of-way. Both should steer to the right. When crossing the path of another boat, the boat on the right has the right of way. The other boat steers clear, altering its course to the right and crossing behind the right-of-way boat. The yielding boat should do everything possible to avoid the crossing boat, including slowing, stopping, or reversing. If you're crossing the path of a boat coming from your left, you should keep the same path at the same speed and should change course only when trying to avoid collision. When trying to pass another boat from behind, stay far from the boat you're trying to pass. You can pass on either side as long as you stay well clear of the slower moving vessel.
However, in all situations, if a collision is imminent, you must take another course of action to try to avoid the collision. Try to let the other boater know what you're doing and make your move decisively. Remember, just because you know these rules doesn't mean other boaters are as well versed. Defensive driving is key to safe boating, so always give yourself time to react no matter what the situation. It's time to get closer to the personal watercraft. Think of this as your key to ride, because without it, you aren't going anywhere. It's the safety lanyard. The safety lanyard provided with your watercraft is the only one that allows your engine to start.
Attach one end to your PFD and snap the other end on the post. Keep it free from handlebars so that the engine stops if the operator falls off. You should hear two beeps and the engine can be started. Check your operator's guide for more information on the meaning of any other signal. A learning key and a reduced speed key are also available. Those keys are programmed to limit the speed of the PWC and are recommended for less experienced riders. After riding, remove the safety lanyard to avoid unauthorized use by children or others. To start the engine, firmly grip the handlebar, place both feet on the floorboards, and depress the start-stop button. Immediately after the engine is started, release the start-stop button. Pulling the safety lanyard off the switch automatically stops the engine, just like pushing the start-stop button when the vehicle is running. It is always a good idea to practice and get familiar with all controls, functions, and handling characteristics of the PWC before venturing further. Start at a slow speed, make circles, figure eights, and release the throttle. Then increase your speed and repeat that maneuver until you feel comfortable. When you fully release the throttle, the engine returns to idle speed and the watercraft is gradually slowed by water drag. It is a good idea to get a feel for the stopping distance of your PWC at different speeds. Remember, PWCs and other boats do not have brakes. Do not release the throttle when trying to steer away from an object. Remember, you need throttle to steer. A reverse is available on some models. While it is particularly useful when docking, it is not a brake and should not be used as such. If you plan on riding with passengers, make sure your passengers are ready to ride before applying the throttle. They need to hold on when you start and accelerate. Maintain communication with your passengers about what is going to happen next. Never apply throttle if a passenger is in the water at the rear of the craft. You could expose them to the jet thrust. If you are the passenger, learn how to properly hold on and make sure you hold on. The PWC is equipped with grab handles and a seat strap. As well, you can always hold on to the person in front of you. It will help the operator if you maintain your balance and anticipate maneuvers and waves. Tell the driver to slow down if you are uncomfortable or feel out of control. As a driver or passenger, you need to be ready to fall into the water. If you are not comfortable with that idea, stay ashore. Before reboarding, make sure the engine is off. Get on from the rear by gripping the handle or top of the seat and pulling yourself upward until your knee can reach the boarding platform. Grab the seat strap and bring your feet up to the floorboard. The operator should board first, with the passenger holding on to the side to steady the boat. To maintain balance while the passenger boards, the operator should move as close to the console as possible. Never use the jet pump components as a support point. Do not start the engine until the passenger is seated. Connect the safety lanyard on its post and make sure the other end of the safety lanyard is still attached to your PFD. Check surrounding area for traffic, press start, and you're on your way. In case of capsizing, to return the watercraft upright, ensure the engine is off and the safety lanyard is not on its post. Then grab the inlet grate, step on the bumper rail, and use your weight to rotate the watercraft in any direction. Consult your operator's guide for more details.
Tow sports like wakeboarding are a great way to enjoy the water, but they require a bit of training and know-how. Always check local and state or province regulations regarding wakeboarding and other tow sports. Observe towing speed maximums on accessories.
When using a personal watercraft for tow sports, always have a spotter, as the driver cannot maneuver the boat and watch the person being towed at the same time. Some states and provinces require a spotter by law. On a personal watercraft, the spotter should face the rear, using the rear grab handle for support or wakeboard pole handle if so equipped. Since you need a place on the watercraft for a spotter and for the person being towed, which will likely ride back to shore on board, you can only practice towing sports with our 3-seaters. When you are close to other boats, make sure they see your rope and your tow, and always be ready to react if they don't. Avoid congestion. Use hand signals and let the skier direct the PWC. Here are some generally accepted signals: slower, faster, speed okay, stop, fallen skier watch out, okay, back to dock. Anyone being towed, whether riding wakeboards, water skis, slalom skis, or tube, must wear an approved PFD and a wetsuit bottom to protect from water intrusion injuries. When a skier falls, keep him or her in view, staying a safe distance away. Circle slowly to get the tow rope to them. Do not pull the tow rope in front of other boats, and be careful not to run over the rope with the PWC, because it could get trapped in the jet pump.
Now that you know how to get on the water, let's review a quick procedure that needs to be done every time you plan to ride your watercraft to ensure a safe ride. Check your operator's guide for more details on this procedure.
First, check the hull for damage. Then inspect and clean the jet pump water intake. Next, inspect the tightness of the cables and the retaining fasteners of the battery. Do not charge or boost the battery while installed on the watercraft. Electrolyte is poisonous and dangerous. Avoid contact with eyes, skin, and clothing. Refill the fuel tank. Gasoline vapors may cause fires or explosions. Do not overfill the fuel tank and keep the PWC away from open flames and sparks. Do not start the PWC if liquid gasoline or vapors are present. Always replace the seat or the engine cover before starting. In the engine compartment, check the fuel line connections for tightness. Check for any fuel leak odor, as well as oil and coolant leaks. Check and refill the engine oil level, as well as the engine coolant level. Check operation of the steering system and, if applicable, of the OPAS system, including the side vanes. Check operation of the throttle system, the shifter system, and the VTS, if applicable. Ensure that the storage compartment covers and seat are closed and latched. If your PWC is equipped with a removable storage bin, ensure that it is installed on the PWC and that it's properly closed and latched. If you carry a wakeboard rack, ensure it is installed properly and that the bungee cords are in good condition. Also ensure that the wakeboard or wake skate is installed properly. Check operation of the DES post and engine start-stop button. If the engine does not start, never check for engine ignition spark from an open coil and/or spark plug in the engine compartment, as spark may cause fuel vapor to ignite. Check the storage cover and compartment. Make sure you have a fire extinguisher on board and that it is easily accessible. Make sure it's properly stored, charged, and operable. Verify all safety equipment and required registration paperwork is on board and available. There are also a few safety items you're required to have on board your PWC. Check with your local authorities for the complete list. Even if the following items may not be required by your local authorities, it makes sense to always keep them on board. A small tool kit, a local map, a first aid kit, a tow rope, flares, a signaling device, a paddle, emergency phone numbers, drinkable water in a plastic container, glass container may break, an anchor and mooring lines, sunscreen, money, and a cellular phone. They all take up little space, but can be a big help. Secure personal belongings, making sure not to place anything too heavy in the storage tray. Make sure the storage compartment is closed securely.
We have seen the pre-ride procedures, but let's not forget the importance of post-ride procedures. It's recommended that your craft be inspected by an authorized Sea-Doo dealer at least once a year.
The dealership's professional technicians will be glad to answer any questions you may have to keep your boat running at peak performance. Just like with any motorized products, scheduled maintenances must be performed. Although your authorized Sea-Doo dealer is the best place to go for all maintenance, there are some simple procedures you may want to do yourself. If you choose to do so, always refer to your operator's guide for proper maintenance schedules and procedures.
So that concludes our review of important safety information you need to know before enjoying your Sea-Doo personal watercraft. Thanks for your time. We'll see you on the water.
Before watching this next section, it is important you review and understand the information presented in the first section of the Sea-Doo safety video. This second section contains additional and specific safety information for watercraft equipped with some or all of the following eye control technologies: IBR, Intelligent Brake and Reverse, ITC, Intelligent Throttle Control, and IS, Intelligent Suspension. When starting your engine, the reverse gate moves into neutral thrust position automatically. To engage forward movement, simply tap on the throttle lever. To engage reverse movement, squeeze the IBR lever on the left side of the handlebar. Although most watercraft have no means of braking as commonly referred to with land-based vehicles, advanced technologies now permit us to offer models that are equipped with a braking system called IBR. This system uses the reverse gate to control the direction of a calibrated amount of jet thrust, which provides a braking mode that actively reduces the forward velocity, or a reverse mode that induces a rearward movement to the watercraft. When actuating the IBR control lever while the watercraft has some forward speed, the braking mode will engage and generate a deceleration proportional to the IBR lever position. The more you pull in the IBR lever, the greater the braking force becomes. Be careful to gradually actuate the IBR lever to adjust intensity of the braking force and simultaneously release throttle lever. To disengage the braking mode, simply let go of the IBR lever. This active braking can significantly reduce the stopping distance of a watercraft. Under ideal conditions, experienced operators were consistently able to reduce by approximately 33% the stopping distance of a watercraft equipped with an IBR system from an initial speed of 50 miles per hour or about 80 kilometers per hour. Stopping distance will vary depending on initial speed, number of riders, load, wind, current, and water conditions. Practice braking maneuvers in a safe, traffic-free area to become familiar with the handling under braking and with stopping distances under various conditions. Even with the IBR system, always use vigilance, especially when heading towards a swimmer, another boat, or any fixed object. Reduce your speed early and change your heading to clear the obstacle in case you run out of stopping distance. The brake feature of the IBR system is different than that of conventional braking systems found on most land-based vehicles. It cannot prevent your PWC from drifting due to current or wind. It has no braking effect on the rearward velocity. Also note that your engine must be running to be able to use the brake. When operating an IBR-equipped watercraft, be aware that other boats following or operating in close proximity may not be able to stop as quickly. When at speed and the brake is first applied, a plume of water will shoot up in the air behind the watercraft and may cause the operator of a following watercraft to momentarily lose sight of your PWC. It is important to inform the operator of a watercraft who intends to follow in a convoy formation of the braking and maneuvering capability of your PWC, what the plume of water indicates, and that a greater distance should be maintained between both of you. When braking, riders must brace themselves against the deceleration force to prevent from moving forward on the watercraft and losing balance. The operator should always keep both hands on the handlebars, and all passengers should maintain a firm grip of the handholds, seat strap, or the waist of the person in front of them. When pulling a tube, skier, or wakeboarder, be aware that the person in tow may not be able to avoid the towing PWC if it stops suddenly under aggressive active braking. To avoid this, proceed with only as much braking as required or follow the spotter's instructions. Learn more on how to use the IBR system in various conditions by reading your operator's guide. Pulling the IBR control lever all the way in while the watercraft is almost stopped engages the reverse mode. To control the rearward velocity of the watercraft, use the throttle lever to increase or decrease the engine RPM. To stop the rearward movement, release both the throttle and the IBR levers. Once the IBR lever has been released, the reverse gate defaults to the neutral thrust position until throttle is reapplied and forward movement is re-engaged. Practice docking using the IBR and throttle levers along with the handlebar to become familiar and develop good control skills. Be aware of the reverse gate movement when starting or shutting down the engine. Automatic movement of the gate may squeeze fingers or toes of people taking a hold on the back of your PWC. Watercraft equipped with intelligent throttle control allow the operator to set a maximum cruising speed or a slow speed mode. To engage the cruise control mode, depress the throttle lever until you attain the desired maximum speed, then push and hold the cruise button for approximately 1 second. Once cruising speed is set, you can fully depress the throttle lever and the speed will not exceed the maximum setting that you just programmed. Slowing down is a matter of releasing the throttle lever further than the set point or by pulling in the IBR lever. To deactivate the cruise control mode, simply press the cruise button once again and fully release the throttle lever. As you proceed under a constant cruising speed setting, keep your attention level up to maintain good situational awareness. Cruise speed can be adjusted using the up or down arrow buttons on the right handlebar. Reduce your speed if you or your passenger feels uncomfortable. The intelligent throttle control also allows for a slow speed mode, where the driver can adjust and set idle speed. This is useful when operating in slow speed zones, where the driver must be especially attentive to possible obstacle avoidance. To activate this mode, the reverse gate must be in neutral position. Press and hold the cruise button for more than 1 second. Rate of speed can be adjusted by pressing the up or down arrow buttons on the right side handlebar. Should a situation arise where the operator must stop or accelerate quickly, the slow speed mode can be disengaged by pulling the IBR lever to brake or by depressing the throttle lever to accelerate. Consult your operator's guide for more details. Watercraft equipped with the intelligent suspension, called IS, are designed so that the riders sit on what is known as the upper deck. The suspension system allows the hull to move independently of the upper deck, smoothing the ride as the watercraft travels through rough water. Although the system absorbs part of the vertical forces and therefore reduces the impact force to the body, it cannot eliminate it completely. To prevent you and your passenger from being bounced around and eventually be ejected from the watercraft, reduce your speed. Avoid riding in very rough waters or practicing extreme maneuvers like jumping wakes or waves, as this could result in serious injuries or death. The suspension system provides an auto and a manual mode of operation. Consult your operator's guide for more information. When the upper deck is raised above the hull, it proportionately elevates the center of gravity of the watercraft higher above the water. When performing certain maneuvers at low speed, the watercraft's propensity to overturn can increase. The more riders or weight on the upper deck, the more unstable the watercraft may become at slow speeds or when completely stopped. In auto mode, the suspension is programmed to automatically lower the upper deck under certain conditions to reduce the possibility of overturning at low speed. Consult your operator's guide for more information. The space between the upper deck and the hull must not be used for storage or articles or cargo of any kind. Use only the storage containers provided. Be careful not to introduce any body parts in the space between the upper deck and the hull. Injury could occur should the upper deck suddenly be made to move down into a lower position.
So that concludes our review of important safety information you need to know before enjoying your Sea-Doo personal watercraft. Thanks for your time. We'll see you on the water.